I'm the founder of an organization known as New Beginnings for Ground, and just as the name suggests, I work on the ground to. So what the organization does is we are integrating substance abuse prevention we're integrating mental health, into substance abuse prevention. So I work with kids in schools as well as young people in campuses and universities. So the main project that the organization does is called Core Ground Shuleni, where we work not only with the students but also with the teachers and parents. So we kind of try to have a very holistic approach when it comes to helping parents and teachers understand the issues of substance abuse, as well as helping now us integrate mental health into helping deal with the substance abuse pandemic there is. So thank you, YDP, for having me, and to my amazing panelists, I'll be their moderator. And I want to involve all of you guys, okay? So as I start, I want you guys to let me know, what does digital wellness mean to you? You can just maybe turn to your neighbor and let them know what digital wellness means to you. Does it mean blocking people? Does it mean blocking your boss? What does it mean to you? Okay, so the topic is managing stress, anxiety, and mental health in the digital workplace and schools. So that is what we will be discussing. And as a psychologist and someone who works closely with young people through New Beginnings for Ground, I see firsthand how the digital world, though incredibly powerful, can also leave many of us feeling disconnected. True? True or false? It can also leave you feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. And in Kenya, there is a very pressing issue where students are studying online with limited support, teachers facing digital overload, and remote workers juggling unrealistic expectations, and time zones are different. So today, we bring together incredible voices in the professional space to explore this issue and to see what can be done differently, or what can we as people in this room do differently, or what can we do? That's the whole aim of us having this conversation. And also, before I proceed, I want us to play a little game. So the game is red flag or green flag. So I'm going to give you guys prompts, okay? Okay? Are you ready? Okay. So the first prompt is, HR schedules a 7 a.m. Zoom meeting called Quick Sync. Red flag or green flag? Why? Okay. Parents reward their child's good grades with an extra Roblox time. Red or green flag?
Red.
Red, green? How many red?
Red.
How many green? Why? Why don't they need to be rewarded with screen time? They should go outside and play. Doctor checks patient lab results on phone during family dinner. Red or green flag?
Red.
Oh, why red?
Red.
Okay. Blood red. Student studies with YouTube, study with me time, live stream for 6 hours straight. So he or she is studying but on YouTube live stream for 6 hours straight. Red. Big red. School introduces mandatory mindfulness app that tracks mood data. Red or green? Green, okay. Awesome. Now we're getting it. Teen uses TikTok to self-diagnose anxiety and skips counseling. Red. Company offers meeting-free Fridays but expects instant Slack or email replies. Red, green. Okay. Last one. Team WhatsApp group sends GIFs and memes after 10 p.m. Red, bye. Okay, thank you so much guys for participating in the game with me. So, I will join my panelists and I'll let them introduce themselves so that you guys can hear from them. Okay, so I will begin with Tina, and then she can pass the microphone to the other person so that you guys can get an in-depth of who they are, okay? Okay.
Thank you. Hi again. So I'm Tina Masai. I'm a consultant psychologist and the founder and executive director of CASA Mind and Wellness. I also provide psychotherapeutic services as a consultant at Chiromo Mental Health Hospital.
So good afternoon once again. The name is Albert Ngoa. I always define myself as a wellness creator. So in line with that, my work is catalogued in 3 key main areas. One, I'm into community engagement, focused more on community counseling and consulting. Number 2, I do a lot of trainings on emotional intelligence. And finally, I'm engaged on matters of digital wellness. And on my free time, I do a lot of mentorship, mostly for youth between the ages of 18 to 30 years old. I'm very passionate in the area of IT, mostly in the area of robotics and community networks.
Good afternoon. Christopher Alvin Mokaya, Executive Director at Africa Real Estate International. I'm also a certified emotional intelligence coach. I'm also a self-trained guidance and counseling coach. And I'm also a business strategy consultant. For those who are into business, I help you shape your business strategy. Besides that, I'm a mentor with the Yali Regional Leadership Center East Africa. Just to name a few things, we interact further to get to know each other one-on-one after this, because I'm sure we are here to network. And remember that your network is your net worth.
Hi everyone. Hi. My name is Nasim Nkata. I'm a psychologist by profession and also run a mental health organization called Hearts. I consult with a few hospitals around Nairobi and Limuru as a therapist or psychologist, and I'm also a board member at a certain high school. So, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thought we just had some tea. My training is that of a teacher, so you definitely have to respond. It is good to have a room that has some life. So my name is Bernadette Nyokafi. I am the Education Director at Sunrise Virtual School. I'm also the co-founder. So this particular discussion is very relevant to the area that I tend to be in on a daily basis, and I am glad that we are having it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have you guys met? Have you now known more about my amazing panelists? Mm-hmm. Have you?
Yes.
Okay, I will start. So I will begin with Albert. So Albert is a certified digital wellness educator. And my question to him is, as a certified digital wellness trainer, how would you define a healthy digital lifestyle? I know you did that when you were here, but let us understand better how you will define a healthy digital lifestyle and what are the most overlooked habits professionals and students need to adopt to protect their mental health.
So for the first question, for me, digital wellness, I'll be very simple. When there's a balance between your personal, professional life, and emotional well-being and technology, that to me is what digital wellness is all about. But I'll go back and say it's more on the mindful use of technology. Because where we are at right now in the world, we cannot do without tech. Yes. So it's more of the mindful use and the balance, the tech-life balance. Yes. What's the second question again?
The second question was, and now what are the most overlooked habits professionals and students need to adopt to protect their mental health? What habits do they now need
to adapt?
Yeah, like as an employee, as a student.
One, they need to have boundaries, And in line with this, I'm looking at like the screen time. How much time do you spend on screens? So if you're working, have breaks, Don't work for 8 hours straight. Maybe after 3 hours, step out, go have some coffee, That's if you're in office. Maybe as a student at some point, break, stretch, meet with your friends, talk to your friends. So having that is very important. Number 2 is mindful engagement of tech. Here, know why you're using technology. It just guides you in terms of doing the right thing. So at work, instead of being on Instagram, you should be writing that proposal. Okay? Yes, I mean, we know very well, it is true. Let's be honest, sometimes productivity starts from, let's say, 8, by 11, it is down. So what do you do between maybe, let's say, 11 and 4? Maybe you're, I don't know, chatting. You know, adults will do that. So I think for me, mindful use is key. Number 3, digital nutrition. Here, we're focusing more on high quality content in terms of what you're consuming. Yeah, I think for me, it's very, very key. And then also having the tech-life balance. You know, remember, you're a human being, and there's need for you to engage with people, from technology. So in this context, keep in mind your social well-being, keep in mind your emotional well-being, keep in mind your physical well-being, keep in mind your financial well-being, I might add, keep in mind even your environment. Yeah, so
I think the key thing I have taken from that is just mindfulness. You know how we are told by your therapist will tell you mindful breathing, mindful eating, mindful nature walks, just be mindful. Yes, okay, that's really, really good. Now, I can pass the mic to Nasim Kata. So, as you guys have heard, she is the founder of an organization known as HAGS, and you work with children and families through HAGS. What are some signs of digital-related stress or anxiety that caregivers and educators often miss, especially in children?
There's something she mentioned about attention deficit, and we're so used to short, content even on TikTok and everything, and that now translates to real life, whereby either you're talking to a kid 1 minute and a kuskiza, and then the next their face is just blank. So that is one of the signs that we can try and notice. The other one is isolation and loneliness. So what social media does is it gives us this illusion of connectedness. You have 100,000 followers and everything, but you rarely know 5 of them in real life and everything. So that causes some sort of loneliness, to the point whereby you need, this trend of I needed a hug, but I did this and that. So you need a hug, but not 100,000 followers, you don't know them physically and everything. So that also is one of them. The other one is depression and anxiety. Like she mentioned, depression is the onset of depression. The start of it is in adolescence. So this is when everything is coming to them fast, whereby the body's changing, the moods are changing and everything. They get online, they see, social comparisons and everything. Oh, this one is coming from this side, this one is doing this and that, why am I not having that and everything? So that now triggers the whole concept of depression and sometimes anxiety. The other one is sleep issues, whereby there's something we call screen time and blue screen, whereby let me mention something small about sleep. What affects our sleep is something called circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is what controls our wake and sleep time. So what happens, it's affected by blue light, which is screens, SIMO, laptop, TV, and everything. So you're in bed, you're trying to watch a TikTok before you go to bed and everything. Then you're realizing, I've been in bed for hours. I haven't been able to sleep. So the minute you put your phone aside, you're trying to sleep, you're constantly tossing and turning. And then you check the time, it's almost 4, 3, you're still up. So that is one of the other issues that may be led by social media or to name just a few.
That's really interesting. Do you have parents in the house? Are you guys struggling with, phones, YouTube, games, apps with your kids? Are you struggling? Even yourself. So you can't even know what to do to help your kids, right? And I have seen it also in my cousins, small cousins. These people have gadgets, they walk with their gadgets, and when you look, they're doing nothing really important, just playing games. So my big question mostly is to parents, what are you guys doing differently? Maybe that's an after, that's something for you to think during your free time. And is that gadget really important for your child at this point in time? I don't know. Also now, show of hands, would you say you work in a high pressure industry? Show of hands. Show of hands, confidently. Okay. Would you say your boss is high pressure? Atakamako in the room, just you can be working for different companies. You can be working for a remote, you can say that. Also, would you say, you yourself, do you deal with pressure well? High pressure. Do you deal with it well? Show of hands. Okay, cool. So now, our next speaker is kind of going to help us know what we can do better. So Christopher is the Executive Director, Africa Real Estate International, just to kind of, remind you guys if you did not hear. And you lead in a fast-paced, high-pressure industry, clearly. How do you support mental health in such an environment? And what roles does leadership, let's say people like bosses, managers, team leads, play in setting the tone for digital wellness?
All right. First, let me also make it clear that Africa Real Estate International is a real estate consulting and development firm, which is headquartered in Lagos, Nigeria, and last year started setting footprint in Kenya. And that is why I was tapped as being the first executive director to set up operations in here. So we are a couple of months old in Kenya, and we have a couple of workers. And we do a lot of events across the continent. Like this year, we have events in Accra, Ghana, Lagos, Nigeria, Dar, Tanzania, and Nairobi, Kenya event shall be on 30th of August. And I take the early opportunity to welcome those who want again to network like this, but now the context will be in a real estate field. Now, that being said, this is an industry which is fast-paced. Yeah? So what I encourage even my workers is that they should be honest, but be people of integrity. If they have not met a deadline, they should just explain themselves, and I'll be able to understand. Because I've been an employee myself, and even right now, I also work for some other entities. I don't like a situation where my boss is giving me pressure to accomplish a task without being mindful of the fact that I may not have accomplished that task, perhaps due to a health emergency, perhaps due to a family emergency. We are parents, we have other roles we play out here, and we are bound to skip some deadlines here or there. But the thing is, have you accomplished your task? And the other thing is, are you a person of integrity? The first thing I usually emphasize is that be that person who has earned the trust of your boss so much so that they can have no doubt giving you permission when you need it. They can have no doubt extending your deadline when you need it, because when you always deliver, you deliver in an excellent manner. But if also, on the flip side, if you are a worker who does not have integrity, who always cuts corners, that your culture within that organization is always looking for shortcuts. So you'll still find this pressure being too much and even being accelerated, because you cannot work without supervision. But if we get the root thing right, that I can work without supervision, I can earn the trust of my boss, so I will not feel under pressure to explain myself when I don't meet a deadline. But what I do agree is that we do not, and I know some bosses are also in the room, we do not need to give our workers, even domestic bosses, some of the most pressured people are those we call aunties at home. True or not true? We view them as people of another level. They are also human beings. They also have social, emotional, psychological, material needs, and they need a day off to go and fulfill those needs, unless you want the abuse to be on your kid. Because we have sometimes had bosses who became too much on, and they never gave permission to their mates to go have, their day off. And what happens? Whatever that made us bottled up, and we have watched some very dangerous, bizarre clips on this social media, monolozing, sexually abusing. Why? What is the root cause? That you didn't give, permission for this person, you didn't mind their mental health. Imagine someone who is taking care of your child, you do not mind their mental health, and you want your children to be 100% fine. It will not be the case. So let us be kind people, whatever positions of authority that have been entrusted to us, please let us ensure we just teach our employees to be people of integrity, but also be flexible enough to mind their mental health, to check on their wellness. Some of us don't even say hi to our employees. Yeah? I mean, we live in a world where we are, we have an imaginary place where we exist and other people exist on another place. But if we can become human, if we can be ethical, if we can mind our mental health, and by extension, mind more so those who are around us, their mental health. Because if that worker who you are not giving a chance to be free or to be free of depression, to go and play a game to go and interact with other friends outside there, what if that Shamba boy one day wakes up and gets mad and picks up, Mapangale? So it is a life and death issue. Some of these things we are discussing here, nasema mental health. If someone is depressed, they can do anything, and by the time they realize it, they were not themselves. So you find an issue of, like this breaking news we hear, that a husband, destroyed the family, cut the kids into pieces and took his own life. We tend to think, hiyo inafanyikanga huko kwingine. It can never happen to us. But let me tell you, if you do not mind your mental health, if you do not more so mind the mental health of those who surround you, we can never know which next breaking news we will hear. So let us take it seriously and let us be intentional about mental health.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christopher. And I like what you said about, basically it's you're trying to say we need to be empathetic. We need to have like emotional intelligence. But some of these things, I feel like we might say them easily, but do they come that fast to everyone? Is everyone in this room emotionally intelligent? Is everyone in this room empathetic? Yeah, that's also another question that's food for thought I want you guys to have. As you're doing your day-to-day activities, do you feel like you're empathetic? Do you feel like you're mindful of the person next to you? I guess that's one thing that maybe even employees and people in leadership can take. And maybe I can see people are tired. Before we wrap up the panel session, I want all of you guys to stand up and then have your phone with you. Stand up with your phone, and then we're going to play a game where after what I have said is when you sit down. You guys have phones? Okay, you guys can sit. Okay, so everyone should stand, unless you have a problem. So we can start. It's a phone battery game. So it's a phone battery game. So if your phone is at below 5%, sit down. We want to see you. Be honest. If your phone is below 5%, sit down. Battery charge. Okay, no one. Wow. Okay. If your phone is below 8%, sit down. Below 8%. You guys are not lying. Okay, below 10%. Wow. Oh, okay, we have one. Okay, I want you guys to see everyone who's sitting before we get to 80%. Below 15%. Below 15%, get to 10, up 11, 12. Wow. Below 20%, please sit down. Below 20%, okay. Below 25%, anywhere between 21, 22, okay. 30%, 40%, okay, 90%, okay. Okay. Below 40, you're not too bad. Mrs. K, vibaya sana. Below 45, okay. Below 50, mko tu sawa. If it was an exam, imagine when you're wote umeketi mngekuwa mmefail. Ungekuwa na, is it a C? A C? Oh, yes.
I think I have a question.
Okay.
What if someone has backup charge?
No, it doesn't count.
They should be telling because they have backup charge.
Doesn't count. At least they were prepared. Even if you have to be prepared. Below 55%. Nini labda mgenda university. 60%. Below 60%, amejaribu. Tunaelekea B+. 65? Ah, good job. Below 70? Wow. You guys can see the people in the room. The number. How many are they? What percentage of the people remain standing? What percentage? But that's okay. That's okay. They were ahead of the game. What does that tell us, guys? Okay, let's see. Let's get to 80%. Below 80%? Ni mgeenda Harvard. Hata ile wameketi msijali msisikie vibaya. How many people have remained standing? 1, 2, 3. You guys clap for them. Give them a big, big clap. Ati back up. Mbona mna back up? In this game called life, you have to be ahead. Even the game of chess, are you ahead? You have to play ahead, right? Oh, mine. Oh, I confirm. I trust them. But that tells you a lot, guys, right? It's just what time? One what? It's 1:04, and clearly we had people sitting at. Okay, I am no saint, please. My phone is huko tu chini. Ati? Anyway, but what I'm trying to show you guys is, at the end of the day, digital wellness also comes in you looking at, if you left the house at 100%, what is it that you're doing that drains your phone that much? And maybe you might say, I have a bad battery, but how did the battery get to being bad? You clearly spoiled it by not knowing how to use your battery or charging your phone the right time. So yes, I want you to take note of that, and maybe in the next couple of weeks, look at how much you're draining your phone battery, and then maybe you're going to also build a better phone habit from there. And I'm also going to mention something Tina told me when we were seated. She said, digital literacy, or we now need to observe digital literacy or wellness as a language. Because let's agree, is the digital space going anywhere anytime soon? And in future, actually, we might not even be having the books that we have on our tables. Everything will be done digitally. True or false? Even journals. How many people have online journals? Like, you don't write on an actual book, you use a phone, a laptop, an app. Okay. At the end of the day, we have to realize that this digital space is not going anywhere. So what can we do to be better and to be ahead of the game? So I'll let her also explain to me more on what she meant by, we now need to start taking it as a language. And as she does that, I also want her to answer this question. She is a psychologist, and she runs a mental wellness institute called CASA Mind and Wellness Institute. So, Tina, what are the biggest mental health challenges you've seen arise from digital overuse, and how can organizations build resilience into their structures?
Okay, thank you. Thanks again. So I think I had alluded a little earlier around some of the challenges we see, but in that earlier presentation, I focused a lot more on young people, because the data was already showing there was a lot of overuse among young people. I think now, because we're going to talk a little more about organizations, I can talk about some of the challenges I'm seeing from an organizational workplace. So, how many people work for an NGO? How many people work for a less than 5-year startup? Okay. How many people work in a job that has a life-threatening something? So maybe a doctor, meaning if you don't do something, somebody could die or there could be some consequences. How many people do operations, like day-to-day nitty-gritty operations, always on the move? All right. So those are some of the, there are some specific roles that require you. They end up necessitating you to always stay on. So that's one of the challenges that I see, especially when you have adults who are presenting into the mental health space. You can even see when they come for a session, they're wondering, do I leave my phone upside? Do I leave it downside? Do I put it on mute? Do I put it on airplane mode? Because there are certain roles that we do that just necessitate us to stay on. Whether it's a donor-funded program that has heavy targets, you're always on meetings, That's really one challenge that I've seen over and over and over. And then I think because we've developed a habit around just that digital dependence, then you find people relying a lot on their phone for many things. It doesn't help, Beryl, that these days our phone is also an alarm clock. It's also